Hi, I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health.
Hey there, people. It's C.C. Péan. I'm happy to be here. Blah blah blah. Happy to be here with you this week. See how big my smile is. And I actually look forward to this. I look forward to reinventing recipes and sharing them with you all. While you all are learning, I'm learning because a lot of these things I've maybe cooked one or two times, or I've never cooked them at all, and I'm putting my twist on them. So it's always exciting to see how they turn out. Um, Tonight's dish is a classically European dish that we are going to put an African diaspora spin on. We are making cabbage rolls. And this is something that I have recently started cooking, and I really like it because it's filling. There's so many ways to make it. If you want to go like, no grains and no carbs, you can do it that way. If you want to use a little bit of carbs, you can do it that way. You can put any kind of grain, literally, that you want into this. All kinds of vegetables. Basically, what it occurred to me, it's basically like meatloaf rolled in cabbage and steamed or like pan grilled. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get this cabbage ready. And now look at this cabbage that I got from an Asian market. This is like literally one of the biggest cabbages I've ever seen. But it's perfect because it's going to give me plenty room to roll and stuff. Now, if you don't find one this big, it's not a problem, but try to find the biggest ones you can. What I have going now, I have some hot water that is boiling, and I'm just going to cut out the heart of the cabbage. I'm not going to go too deep because I don't want to destroy my leaves, but I'm going to take it, do that. We're going to cut out this. There we go. It's coming out. And when I steam it, I actually do something different. I actually put mine, see how that's out? So I actually put it right in the water like this. The reason I do that is because the water is really hot and I want to be able to use my tongs to take it out. If I have it the other way, it won't work as well. This is only going to be in that hot water for about a minute because all you're wanting to do is kind of soften the leaves so they're pliable when you want to stuff them. So I'm just going to drop this in there. Now, so we're going to be steaming it. Now, I tend to add water to my, not water, I tend to add salt to my water. Because when I do that, I'm going to cover this up. Alexa, timer for a minute and a half. Because I want to create the steam. And I didn't ask you all that, Alexa. So I like to do that because it also imparts a little flavor on the leaves of the cabbage. So just a little bit of salt. Some will tell you that it should taste like seawater, but we're watching our salt intake, so I'm not going to say that, but just a little bit of salt. Okay, so that's going to steam. And we're going to do two giveaways tonight before I forget. So I told you that this dish is classically European, but I want somebody to tell me which country in particular this dish is from. That's what I want to know. If you can tell me that. So while that is steaming, it's kind of scaring me. It's really, really, really boiling. A couple of things that I'm doing to give this an Afro-Caribbean, African diaspora twist. I'm using some coconut rice. Now, the other great thing about this recipe is you can literally, I need to take this lid off just, but you can literally, it's one of those things where you can kind of grab different things in your refrigerator and put them all together and reinvent a dish. And that's what I've done. I had some delicious coconut rice I made the other day, and I'm going to use it. I don't think I can multitask while I'm doing this because I'm a little concerned, just a little concerned. So let me take the top off. And my time is up. Okay, so yes, I'm using some coconut rice. I'm using some Impossible burger. I love this product. I don't use it often, but this, if you're going to use a meat substitute, this is the time to use it because this is going to give the texture and quite honestly, the flavor that you would have from ground beef. So I am going to, let's see. Yep, this is just about done. You bear with me. I'm going to take this off. I'm just going to drain it. And then we'll get back to what we're doing. And these leaves are falling off perfectly. Okay. Alrighty, so what country do these cabbage rolls originate from? We're taking it to the African diaspora, but where do they originate from? That's our first question. Okay, so in this, the more veggies you add to things like meatloaf and the stuffing that's going into this cabbage rolls, it's going to give it more, it's going to make it more moist and juicy. So you want to use those veggies. And I'm using this evening, I'm using some celery, I'm using some scallions, I'm using bell pepper, I'm using onion, I've got some raisins. I know people think I'm crazy, but I love putting golden raisins and things because it gives them that little sweet touch. And you know I'm greedy. I love salty, sweet, sour, umami. I love all these different flavors when I take a bite, just like one bite. And this cabbage roll is perfect for the bite. Hey, Crystal, that's not what I was thinking of. That's not what I was thinking of. But you know what? Maybe that's not the right question to ask because that very well could be true. Let's see, what will be our other question? What typically goes on top of a cabbage roll? That's the question. That's the new question. Crystal, I got you. But let's do a new question. What typically goes, because I was thinking of a different country and there could be more than one. So I don't want to say that you're wrong. Okay, so we are going to get our veggies going. And I'm just gonna chop up some scallion, not too much. Not too much. Gonna use some celery here. I love celery because celery gives it a little crunch and celery also gives us a bit of saltiness. Hey, Rachel. Haiti is not where cabbage rolls are known from. Well, Haitians probably make it, but I'm talking about a European country. So what typically goes on top of a cabbage roll? Like there's something that's usually ladled over the top of it. What is that? That's what my question is. So we've got celery, we've got scallions, we're gonna do some bell pepper here. And again, you can be as creative as you want. If you wanna put some carrots in here, feel free to do it. I'm using these beautiful bell peppers. Something else I always like to put in are sun-dried tomatoes, but we're not going to use that this week. Okay. We've got those things. We're going to do a little bit of onion. Let me get this off my board. Use just a little bit of onion. Tomato sauce. Hey, Crystal, let somebody else win. Okay, so Crystal, Crystal answered the question. And so, Crystal, we will be sending to you a environmentally conscious, delightful, sustainable shopping bag. That's for you, Crystal. That's what you're getting. So we're going to do our onion now. Any kind of onion works. I mean, I hear people, you know, should I use red? Should I use yellow? Should I use sweet? The only time that I really am concerned about the type of onion I use is like when I make things like guacamole. If it's going to be raw, I tend to use a red onion. Other than that, I just kind of feel like you just use what you can get your hands on. Whatever's on sale, that's what I tend to use. I'm not an onion snob like that. Okay? And you know what I always say about things being cut evenly, it's important because that means it will cook evenly. So we always got to be careful with that. All right, so we've got our veggies in there. I'm going to put some golden raisins, just gonna kind of coarsely chop these up. I shared with you all that it's good if you're ever gonna use something like this, a dried fruit in a dish, it helps to soak it just for about 10-15 minutes in some warm water prior to using it. And that's what I did with this, because you don't want anybody to bite in and it's like hard. So this is going in. Okay. And I'm going to add my coconut rice. This is about 1.5 cups here. This is gonna be so good. I have some garlic puree that I'm adding to that. A little bit of coriander. And you know I had to highlight one of my Cabbage spices. So this evening, what we are highlighting is the Cabbage Diaspora Chili Blend. The name of this is actually changing. You're gonna find it under Habesha Spice on my website. This is very reminiscent of Ethiopia, and I love this spice. It's the perfect spice to go with this creamy coconut rice. So that's what's gonna go in there. But before we do that, we're gonna open up our package of Impossible Burger. You could also use Beyond Burger, but whatever the veggie meat you use needs to be something that has to be cooked. You don't want it to already be cooked and like crumble it, because it's very important that this all gets mixed up together and it bakes together. So we're gonna drop that in there. Move this stuff out the way. Okay, I'm used to this, so I'm gonna use about a good 1 to 2 teaspoons and a teaspoon of my mushroom salt. And we're gonna just mix it up. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't like to use your hands, you're gonna have a problem, because this really is one of those things that you've gotta get in there and mix it up. It mixed up very easily. So the rice, of course, is cooked. I've heard of recipes where the rice is not cooked. Our rice is cooked. Everything else is uncooked, but the rice is cooked. And this is ready to go. Let me rinse my hands, and then I'll show you all what it looks like up close. Pretty quick. So this is what it looks like. It looks like meatloaf. It looks like meatloaf that has some grain in it. I have used farro in this. I love the texture of farro. It's super hearty. So I've used farro in there. I've used quinoa. I've gone without any grain at all and just used lots of veggies. This is one of those dishes that you really can play around with and make it your own. All right, so we steamed our cabbage, and I want you to see what it looks like. So once you steam it, the leaves are literally just gonna come right off. Look at that. They come right off. You just peel them. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off that heavy core. There's still some of that core left there. A little bit of water there as well. Yep, it comes off pretty easy. Okay, see that? We've got a lot of water there. So I'm going to put this back in my strainer. Making a mess. Okay. So I'm going to take off this hard core here. I'm kind of cut it in a circular. Cut that out. Okay. So you have your leaf there. And I'm going to take this is probably about a quarter cup. Put it right in the center. If you want to get like really creative with this, what you could do is you could put like a little piece of plant-based cheese inside so that when you cut it, it's like a stuffed meatloaf. So we're just going to do this. And we're going to do this. We're going to roll it. And we've got the perfect little package. Now, what you can do, you can use a toothpick to hold it in place. Once this steams, it's going to steam and it won't come apart. But until then, you're at risk of it coming apart. So I just take a toothpick, push it through, and then I'm going to place it in my dish here on the side. We're just going to keep going. Cut this out again. These are a great, I think these are even good for like potluck, because it's not something that people typically, especially in the African American culture, this is not something that we are too familiar with. Now, of course, there's variations to this. People are doing collard green rolls. Okay, there's number 2. And we can literally just fill this pan up. It's kind of hard to mess up this recipe. Right? We roll it again. See how easy that is? You all always say Cynthia, you make it look easy. It really is easy. Now, I have even made these and I have not baked them afterwards. But if you do that, you need to make sure that everything inside that you're stuffing it with is cooked. You can do it that way as well. All right, let's get some more leaves because we're running out here. Okay, so what will my next question be? What will my next question be? Okay, who can tell me what type of mushroom I used to make our Popeyes chicken, our veganized spicy Popeyes chicken sandwich? Crystal, you cannot answer. I hope mom and dad Campbell like cabbage rolls because they're gonna get these tomorrow for dinner. Can anybody tell me, it's not Crystal, what type of mushroom was used? And what is such, excellent, lion's mane mushroom. Thank you, Christian. Yes, lion's mane mushrooms. And they're so good. It's a little freaky looking at them, I will admit, but they're so good for your brain health. There have been studies that have shown that it really helps with your cognitive repair. Like if there's no brain damage or anything like that, it retards the progress of like dementia and things like that. I just love hearing things like that because what it just reminds me is that our Creator gave us everything that we need in nature to heal our bodies. All right, and here is our last one. Here is our last one. So we have made from 1.5 cups of rice and veggies and a pound of impossible meat. We have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of these. So if you're a family of 4, everybody gets one, and you've got leftovers to go to work the next day. I swear, every time I do a show, my face itches. Okay, so that's gonna go right in the center. Keep it clean. So this is what it looks like. Now there's a couple things you can do with this. You can steam it stovetop. You can put it in your oven, which is what I prefer. You can either cover it with, since I have this pot, I can use my heavy lid. Just put maybe like a 1/4 cup of water in there and base so that it steams through. Traditionally, what people tend to do is, thank you, Carolina, what people tend to do traditionally is they will take the leftover cabbage leaves and put it on top, and it helps to keep it super moist. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to cover it. And this is going to go in the oven. This is funny. I saw this meme one time that says that Black people put everything in the oven at 350. We're putting this in the oven at 350. We've got this. Now, there are people that make this and they actually put the tomato sauce on it. At this point, I don't do that. I don't do that. So you see how we've got this covered just lovely? Break this a little bit. Okay, and we're just going to put a little bit of water in the bottom of it, a 3/4 cup. So I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'll be right back. We're going to do the magic of StreamYard, Facebook Watch. So that's actually going to go in the oven for about 45 minutes. Of course, we don't have time to show you what that's going to look like, but I do have a cabbage roll that you can see. So this is what it's going to look like when it finishes. And let me show you. See that? It's sealed. The steam sealed it. So I was able to take the toothpick out. And let me just cut this for you. See what the inside looks like. This one was done with farro and some Morningstar sausage. So it's slightly different. And I put a little bit of feta cheese inside of it, vegan feta cheese. Can you see that? Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to zhuzh it up. Now I made a really zesty tomato sauce. The key to tomato sauce, let me tell you, the key to making a delicious tomato sauce is taking your time, especially if you're taking it out of a can. It's going to have a funny taste to it. Oftentimes because the tomatoes that are canned were not necessarily ripe when they're canned, and then also the process of canning the tomatoes. So what I like to do is I put my garlic, I put my onion in the pan, and I put my tomato sauce in, or my pureed tomatoes, or my chunky tomatoes, whatever it is. I let it come, I turn it up high and let it come to a boil, and then I drop it down to a nice smooth simmer, and I let it simmer for about 20 to 25 minutes. I always add a pinch of cumin. Cumin makes your tomato sauce come alive. Well, this one in particular, I took it even a little further. I added a little bit of cinnamon to it. So that's what's in this one. And we're just going to put this right on top of our cabbage roll. A little bit of our zesty sauce. Then I'm going to use some of my BioLife Parm. And I'm just going to shred it on top. What I love about this dish is that you can literally make it as elegant. It's a rustic kind of like peasant dish, but you can make this as elegant as you want to. So I've added some shaved parm on it, and then I'm going to use some of my microgreens that I love so much. Not micro cilantro this time, but microgreens. So this is our African diaspora inspired elevated cabbage roll. You see that? Yummy. You can serve this with soup. Some people serve this with like mashed potatoes, but I really don't get that, especially since typically there's already a grain inside of this. But I think that this is a perfect winter dish, a nice cauliflower soup or a green soup. I think I shared my green soup with you. My kale and spinach soup would be delicious with this. This is nutrient dense. It's full of flavor. It's low calorie. Did we even put, the only fat that's in this is the cheese that I just put in it. And it's a vegan feta. This is like a home run dish. If you're somebody who's trying to watch your figure, if you're someone who's just trying to eat healthier, this is the perfect dish. Yay, and send pictures. So Christian said she's making this tomorrow. I want to see it. I want you all to post pictures to my page and to the Reclamation Projects page. We want to see what you all are doing. So, okay, Christian, did I tell you what you won? Did I tell you what you won? Christian won a full-size bottle of my maroon maple jerk syrup. I'm trying to tell you, you are not ready. I used this last week on the shish kebab. The sausage was talking to me. The sausage was like, I wasn't ready. I didn't know you were gonna do all this to me. You bathed me in this glorious maple jerk syrup. So, and it says it's a syrup, but let me tell you, it's a great sauce because what it does, if you do mushrooms and you drizzle it over mushrooms in a pan, it caramelizes. It just clings to those mushrooms. Whatever you pour it on, it clings to it and it gives you an amazing experience. So Christian, congratulations. This is what you will be getting. And Crystal, my girl, this is what you will be getting. And so that's it, people. We made cabbage rolls that are African diaspora inspired. Now, here's the thing. Africa that's my culture. I'm West Indian, West African. So I tend to do things through that lens. But hey, if you're Filipino, use adobo seasoning. If you're, what can I say? If you're European, go back to the traditional, the dill and things like that. Whatever you are, whoever you are, celebrate your culture through your food. I celebrate my culture through food, but I'm encouraging you to do as well. Because one of the things that I have discovered is that when we go back to our roots, when we go back to our traditional foods, those are really foods that are great for us. They're nutrient dense, they heal our bodies, they're not processed and preservative packed and things like that. I mean, back in the day, the preservative was salt. That really was what it is, was what it was. Now, there are a million things that go into our foods. So take it back to basics. And what is more basic than a cabbage roll? Look at that. Just lovely. Can you imagine a tray of these, like a long tray, and you just have all of them, and the sauce goes right over the center, and then you do your gentle shave of your Parmesan, and then you've got your delicate greens. It's gorgeous. This is the kind of thing that, yep, this is the kind of thing that you can wow somebody, and it's super simple to make. So I want to see your pictures. Please share your pictures. I am so happy that you all joined me this week. I had a great time. I'm going to be up all night filling my orders. You all have been supporting me tremendously, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I will not sleep tonight, but I'm happy. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for supporting Reclaiming Your Health, and thank you for supporting the Reclamation Project. We will see you all next week. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye. Hey.